Stretch out the dreams from my mind. Granny's got the scoop, let's unwind. Birds are chirping, singing their tune. Mystery of the day coming soon. Cup of tea and a buttered scone. Start the day, we're never alone. Good morning, rise and shine. Granny's here with stories so fine. Good morning, off we go. To greet the world with a happy glow.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning. Grab your coffee, your tea, cappuccino, espresso, juice, whatever it is that you drink in the morning. We are going to get started. Today's episode is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but it's very, very interesting, guys. I don't know if you guys have heard of Mad Honey, but the title of this video is Mad Honey Causes Psychosis in People. It's kind of crazy, but let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to get right into it. Now, I am going to be skipping over some parts of this video because they show other cases, and not that those cases are not important, because they are very much so, but we want to focus on this case today.
Marnie Hughes, and this is Missing. Thank you for joining us. Each week, we feature a missing persons case from across the country. No matter their race, religion, background, or circumstances, every missing person matters. With your help, our goal is to shine a light on cases that are not getting much attention, dig for answers, and offer support for the family and friends of the missing. This week's featured case centers around the Sirigliano family from Michigan. They vanished in 2022. A mom and a dad and two teen sons. The circumstances around their disappearance at the time were unusual, a bizarre call to 911. Tony Sirigliano asking for police help and protection. He thought someone was trying to kill him and his family. He believed a meteor strike was imminent, so they took off, prompting a massive search. 6 days later, and 600 miles away from their home, the family was found safe. A relief for sure. But then the story takes an even more puzzling turn.
Your mind fails you. It's kind of an odd thing, because it wasn't like I was hearing voices. It seemed like my mind that I'm used to, the internal talking that you're familiar with, but it just was saying crazy stuff. Yeah. I thought the world was going to end very shortly by a meteor strike. That was just one of many concerns that I had.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I can laugh about it now, but it was so crazy.
In a moment, the family will share more of their story, including their belief that a jar of honey they call Mad Honey is to blame for the entire chain of events. Before we get to that, we have several other missing person cases to share with you. This is 2-year-old Dane Paulson. His family reported him missing Saturday afternoon, March 1st. Dane was last seen playing in the yard at his home in Silence, Oregon. This is a small town. It's near the coast, west between Salem and Eugene. Police do not suspect foul play, which is why there is not an Amber Alert in this case.
Very,
it was
very
4:25 in the afternoon. At the time, Dane was wearing a fuzzy gray family found. The circumstances around their disappearance raising a lot of questions. Most strangely, a jar of honey they call Mad Honey. Susan Samples from Wood TV sat down with Siriglianos as they recount the mysterious chain of events, their disappearance, and a sudden psychotic break, their safe return, and the reason they believe it all happened.
Noel County 911.
Yes, hello. This is
Anthony John Sirigliano. Everyone is okay, but I need some police protection immediately.
On the line, minutes after midnight on an October Sunday in 2022, an almost eerily calm Tony Sirigliano.
It is related to September 11th, and people want to erase me from the face of the earth. I'm a Christian. I just need some help, and then the U.S. government will take it from here. I'm not crazy.
First at 12:30, breaking news just into our newsroom, an alert about a family of 4 that is missing.
24 hours after the 911 call, the Siriglianos, Tony, Suzette, and sons Brandon and Noah were gone. And Suzette's mom, who lives with them and has dementia, was found wandering the neighborhood.
So we don't see any signs of foul play right now. There's no signs of struggle inside the home.
The mystery of the missing family quickly captivated armchair detectives, and an alert gas station clerk in the UP spotted the family first, 300 miles from home.
We really have no idea of what ties either one would have in that area.
600 miles and 6 days later, the hotel clerk in Wisconsin recognized the family, and police found them safe and unhurt. Case closed. Until now.
All I had in my mind was to get away and head north.
It's the fear and confusion Tony remembers most.
I thought maybe that somehow I was the devil, and I asked God if I was the devil to just burn me to a crisp right now, and I'd be yelling, looking at the sky, just really bizarre stuff.
You know, he was not in his right mind. He was not well.
What Tony didn't know at the time, at 51 years old, the IT specialist was experiencing for the first time a psychotic break.
And when your mind fails you, it's kind of an odd thing. So it wasn't like I was hearing voices. It seemed like my mind that I'm used to, you know, the internal talking that you're familiar with, but it just was saying crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I thought the world was going to end very shortly by a meteor strike. That was just one of many concerns that I had.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I can laugh about it now, but it was so crazy.
The Siriglianos reached out to Target 8, hoping to help illuminate a subject that desperately needs it, mental health. But there's something else too.
Here is the infamous jar.
A couple months before the Siriglianos fled, Tony bought raw honey online.
When I ordered it on my mobile phone, I couldn't really read the letter, and looked like something I had purchased before.
It wasn't, but Tony didn't realize that right away and said he started adding the honey, a teaspoon or two, to his daily yogurt.
I didn't feel very good. I was having heart palpitations, and I thought it might be the honey.
Tony said that's when he noticed the Russian label, not his regular brand, and came across something online called Mad Honey. It's produced when bees feed on toxic nectar from rhododendron plants, mostly in Turkey and Nepal. Mad honey is known and prized for its intoxicating effect, especially since the social media debut of this super chill honey-drunk bear in northern Turkey. In people, mad honey poisoning is hardly ever fatal, with symptoms ranging from low heart rate and blood pressure, confusion, agitation, vomiting, dizziness, and in very rare cases, and only at high doses, hallucinations.
I think this was about half empty before we dumped it out. So I had that much of whatever it was.
The honey Tony bought was sold as regular raw honey, not mad honey. Its distributor told me there's no way the honey, which he said was imported from Russia, was contaminated with anything. The FDA told me it has never had any complaints against that business. The Siriglianos are not convinced.
And that's when the problems began, and it really started, I guess, building up, and started having a lot of unusual thoughts, very vivid dreams, just strange behaviors. My poor wife went through a lot.
Was this just terrifying? I mean, what's going through your mind during this?
Oh, I knew that it was definitely some craziness happening with him. And, we were just trying to figure out the best way of trying to get him help.
I'm not crazy.
When Tony himself pleaded for help in that 911 call, Fremont police did a welfare check and determined the Siriglianos were not in imminent danger. Tony disagreed.
And I was reading Revelation, which is, pretty heavy stuff, and just misinterpreting. And besides people trying to kill me because I knew something about 9/11.
One day after Tony's call to 911, in the middle of the night.
And all of a sudden, he turned over, and I kind of opened my eyes and looked over at him. He turned, his eyes popped open. He looked right at me and said, "We need to leave. We need to leave now."
So he woke me up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she said like we had to go.
Suzette said she never felt threatened by Tony. Neither did their sons, Brandon, 21, and Noah, 17. When Suzette's mom, who had early dementia, refused to leave with the family, they reasoned she would be okay at home because Tony's mom would be stopping by soon. Tony insisted they leave their cell phones behind to prevent tracking. That's why Brandon tried to use the phone at that UP gas station. He wanted to call Tony's mom because he missed her.
He didn't know you had to press 1 before I put the phone number in, so it didn't go through.
The search is over for Fremont family.
1 week after the Siriglianos fled their Fremont home, a Wisconsin hotel clerk recognized them from the news. Suzette and the boys were relieved.
Because I really, really want to go back home.
We needed to get home, and he needed help.
I was institutionalized for about 3 weeks.
Tony was put on antipsychotic drugs and then court-ordered into 6 months of outpatient counseling. In his discharge summary, Newaygo County Community Mental Health reported Tony had been safely tapered off antipsychotic meds, has had no additional episodes, and no longer meets the criteria for severe, persistent mental illness. The report also noted that Tony had suffered what appeared to be a psychotic break triggered by the overconsumption of Mad Honey, which contained brain-altering neurotoxins. But the psychiatric hospital...
Well, guys, brain-altering neurotoxins. All I gotta say is if you're ordering honey online or even buying it in the store, please read your label. My goodness.
Where Tony had stayed reported a different diagnosis, bipolar disorder. Though Tony notes the hospital spent very little time with him compared to Newaygo County Mental Health.
Mental health diagnoses are complex.
Dr. Bibhas Singla is a psychiatrist at Pine Rest, not the facility that treated Tony. Singla said paranoid delusions are a common symptom of mania.
And a lot of bipolar disorder can first present with mania, and then mania has paranoid delusions as one of the symptoms as well.
The Siriglianos said they'll never know for sure what caused Tony's psychosis. They dumped the honey when labs told them toxin testing would cost thousands and might not work anyway. Tony is back to working full-time in IT, and everyone's doing fine, including Suzette's mom.
We're very thankful that the neighbors did step in and things worked out as they did, and she's doing well, and we're doing good.
I spoke with Suzanne Samples, the investigative reporter from Wood TV, about this bizarre case. Here's that conversation. Susan, you and I'm sure, have covered many, countless stories over our career that we could label bizarre and wild, but this one takes the cake. Why did this family want to speak out and share their story?
Right. You can imagine my surprise when I was just scanning my emails one day, emailing emails into the newsroom, and up pops Tony Sirigliano. And I'm like, that name is so familiar. That's the gentleman who disappeared with his family. And in that initial email, he said he wanted to set the record straight in terms of the digital online record about what happened, take people behind the scenes, and let people know that he has since recovered in full. And I think they also wanted to raise awareness about Mad Honey and the importance of talking about mental health openly. They want to normalize that conversation. But Mad Honey, who knew this was a thing? It is a thing. There's no way, he has acknowledged, there's no way to prove that that's what happened here. they had the honey. Oh my gosh, it's such a complicated and long story, but I didn't even know such a thing existed. But indeed, mad honey, you can get mad honey poisoning. It is harvested mostly in Turkey and Nepal. Bees that feed on rhododendrons, as you said. It has an intoxicating effect, the honey that comes from that. And he thinks, as you mentioned, that that honey was contaminated, but they got rid of the honey at some point because he said that he and his wife called all kinds of labs hoping to get it tested for grannyscrimebusters. That's the toxic element in mad honey. But all of the labs said it'll be thousands and thousands of dollars, and we don't even know how to test for that. It might not even be successful. So they ended up dumping the honey. But they want people to know this is a thing that's out there. I don't think it's hugely popular. Oh, there's the bear that got drunk on the honey. That's like a social media sensation. I don't think this is hugely popular in the United States right just yet, mad honey, but I do believe it's growing, and people need to know that you have to take very small amounts of it because it is potentially intoxicating. People have poisoning. Rarely is it fatal. In fact, I don't think there has been a fatal case that people can document, but hallucinations are something that can happen with that.
Wow. The video of the bear and showing just how intoxicating it can be is quite alarming, Susan. So the family, when they vanished, it was a story we covered in our missing series. They were gone for 6 days. Nobody knew what had happened to them. Where did they go? Where were they staying all that time? And what were they doing?
Driving without GPS. So he made his family leave the phones behind because he was worried about tracking. I mean, so interesting in this story to sort of lift the veil on mental health and what a psychotic break looks like. And the fact that he's
it looks like we may have lost Susan's microphone. Susan, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Sorry. So the raising the veil on mental health and awareness, we'll end it there, which was the reason that the family wanted to speak out. What did they share, and what more do we know about his diagnosis in this case?
Right. Well, as you said, he blames it on the honey, but knows that he can't prove that. It has all left his system, and he no longer is having those hallucinations. But one thing really quick I want to say is bipolar, one agency or one hospital where he stayed for 3 weeks did think he had bipolar. Mania and hallucinations is an element of bipolar. And I thought that bipolar shows up usually with younger people, ages 15 to 25. But I found out that it also shows up between 45 and 55. Which I didn't know that there were those two peaks, 15 to 25, ages 45 to 55. He was 51 when this happened. But again, he has not had any hallucinations since he stopped the honey, had care for 3 weeks residentially, and then went through a whole year of care in the community mental health agency. That family is doing great. That's what they want people to know. They're fine.
They're doing well now. Well, what a story. Thank you for sharing it. I'm glad they sat down with you, and we've got the full story on newsnationnow.com. Susan Samples from Wood TV. Good to see you.
Okay, so really quite interesting, huh, guys? I tend to agree with the Sigliano family that the honey is what caused his hallucinations, his psychosis break, right? Because he has been, that is out of his system. He's not had any more episodes. So trying to diagnose him with bipolar, I'm not so sure that that's the right diagnosis because he's not had any more, right? So, and he's been weaned off of all antipsychotic drugs. So, I don't think that you could definitively say that bipolar was the problem here, right? Which brings us back to the mad honey problem. My goodness. And it's not prominent in the States. However, people do buy from the internet all the time. So, I want to warn everybody, please be careful, And even if your children are buying on the internet, please watch what they're buying, guys, because this could be taken and used for some kind of a drug, right? They, you know, you watch that video of that bear and it could give kids stupid ideas, right? So parents, please be careful all the way around with what you're purchasing off the internet. I like what the Sigliani had to say as far as mental health. Very, very important. We have a mental health crisis in this country. People need to make it an open conversation and not something that's degrading, right? People have issues. Nothing wrong with admitting that, and they shouldn't be berated for that. I want to thank all you guys for being here with me today. Please be sure to hit the like button on your way out, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can get notifications of when we go live, which is most nights at 5 p.m. Central Time, guys. We would love to have you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at grannyscrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.